Hello and welcome to Noclip, the podcast about the people who play and make video games. I'm your host, Danny Dwyer, and this week, man, if you thought we went real casual with some of these recent podcasts, you've never seen casual like this week's. I'm joined by Esteban Martinez, producer for Noclip. He's done a bunch of work for us, including making his own documentary near the end of last year, our spooky doc. A great insight into the fighting game community. Esteban's up in Philly. How you doing, my friend?
I'm so casual right now. I'm just laying out on this couch in my pajamas, ready to podcast.
Is that how you edit? Do you sit on a couch? Is that why your back is broken?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I just lay down, and you know those cool like lazy boy sofas? That's me. That's just an image of me with a laptop, and that's how I edit.
How do you actually edit? Because I edit, I did the standing thing for a while, and then edits take so long, and I sit in I have a really nice desk that does do the standing stuff, but when I bought my chair, I didn't buy a particularly ergonomically sound one. I just bought a nice leather one.
Yeah, I've been to your studio. I remember that chair. That chair hurts.
Yeah.
So for me, at least, not to get too deep into it, but I did spend a lot of money on the chair and the desk.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're here at the whole time. So I've got a nice desk that can go from standing to regular position real easy. And then I bought one of those Herman Miller chairs.
Oh,
the Aeon
yes.
chairs.
La-di-da.
It is the best purchase I've ever made in my entire life. Everything is just so comfortable. You focus more. My back doesn't hurt anymore. Because I used to have one of those $20 office chairs from Staples, and I was like, this thing is actually killing me. You read all the reports of sitting too long will shorten your lifespan. I actually felt my life force draining from my body as I was sitting on this chair. I was like, all right, you know what? Things are good. I'm in a new apartment. Let's just bite the bullet and buy this chair. And I bought it. And look, I know you had a child recently, and I'm sure that's wonderful and joyous, but this chair, there was nothing better than this chair. My firstborn child will not be as good as this Herman Miller chair.
God damn it, I got chair envy now. That's a good...
It's really
good. It's wise. It's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in future medical bills that you will not have to pay. So really, you're just... you're really investing in yourself. Fair play. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. This podcast is it's not just the two of us yammering on about ergonomics. We're gonna just kind of, I don't know, I feel like I need to clean the slate on everything we've done over the past couple of weeks, 6 weeks, because so much happened, and what's happening in the next, because there's also a lot happening. I'm in the eye of the storm, I feel right now, and I kind of just want to talk about all of it. So first of all, let's talk about the thing that both of us did, Esteban, which is we just returned from Chi-Town, sunny Illinois, where we...
It was anything but sunny.
Jesus. It was what was it? It was one of those temperatures that in European, it was minus 12, I think. So I think it was what was it, 15 or 20 in Fahrenheit?
Yes.
It was bloody freezing. When we were flying in, it was just frozen lakes. Every lake was frozen.
I mean, not even just flying in. When you stepped off the plane, it was oh no, I've messed up. I'm in the wrong place.
Yeah, I had I had a big jacket, but I had it stuffed in my camera in the bag with the lights in it, just to basically keep the lights from getting rattled around in the plane. So when I got off the plane, I wasn't wearing anything warm, and that little gangway was fucking, I felt like going through the 6 layers of hell, well, the opposite of hell, freezing hell, which apparently is Chicago. But we were there to talk to Mr. Ed Boon and his friends about Mortal Kombat 11. It was a press event, influencer event, and I've been kind of asking him about maybe doing something post-release, just kind of getting in, nothing confirmed or anything, but just kind of asking around just to see. And they said, well, we don't know, but there's this influencer and media thing going on. Do you want to come? And I think that was 5 days earlier, and I emailed you and we're like, are you free on Monday? I think you just got back from Japan.
Oh man.
Yeah, so that it all kind of came together last minute. We were in and out one day. We turned up, went to a diner, talked to Ed Boon, back on a plane, back to our respective cities on the East Coast. But what did you think? I want to ask you what you thought of the game, because we don't really cover that so much in the thing, because we're not doing fucking impressions here.
I get
on
to put my journalist hat on now, right?
Yeah.
Here's your preview of Mortal Kombat 11.
Well, you're the fighting game expert here in my social life as well. But I also don't know if I don't really consider MK a fighting game. To me, it's always just a fun arcade game I buy every time it comes out.
You've just offended so many people right now.
It's not it's a kick smash off Evo.
That's right. It's get out of here. It's Mortal Kombat time. The game is great from what I played and what we can talk about. But, I've been a fan of, Mortal Kombat, especially going back to the arcades. I was a big arcade kid growing up in Brooklyn. So I played a bunch of the Mortal Kombats, but especially coming from 9, like 9 was kind of like the big rebirth of Mortal Kombat, or like the renaissance of the games. So they had a good track record with like 9, and then 10 was very good, and now 11 just looks to be continuing that streak of just really quality games. There's a lot of good single player stuff, good graphics, controls well, and man, have they upped the scale on like fatalities.
Yeah, it's they're pretty wild. I didn't really appreciate how nuts they were when I was watching the trailers, because like that type of grotesque cinematography you're kind of used to in trailers a bit, but when you're actually doing the fights and it happens, like I love those X-ray things that were in. Was that X or 9?
They were in both.
Okay, yeah, but I really like that. Like, and I guess they have the fatal blow system, which is they're basically just like mini fatalities that happen during the fight. And then they have the fatalities, which are just like so absurd. There was one that I wish I recorded. It's Scorpion pulls the head off one, the classic one. And the face, the like disembodied head with the like almost looks like a tail hanging out of the bottom of their neck was just I laughed. It was so disgusting. Did you have any favorite ones that stood out to you?
I mean, it's the one that's going around so much now. It's the Johnny Cage one. Like, not only is it, if you haven't seen it, it's an homage to, I think, his Mortal Kombat 2 fatality, where like
you punch off multiple heads.
Yeah, he just uppercuts you multiple times, and just multiple heads came out in the old school games. Like, it made no sense. So in this one, he uppercuts you, and then like you hear like a director off screen like cut, because your head's supposed to come off, I guess. And so it's just multiple takes, like in like a Hollywood production, and it's a really cool idea of like merging his like background lore to also like this silly fatality that existed in these older games. There was that one, and Kano's is just like, it's very simple, or he just like headbutts you and your head just explodes like on the third one. Very simple, very bloody, but like just funny. Like, it just made me laugh.
Yeah, there's something about the slow-mo thing that they do in this game, where when the last strike that makes the person dead, as if they're not already dead with the previous couple of strikes, it just slows down in this like comically grotesque way, and then the word fatality pops up, and everyone on screen, like either the person who's dying or the person who's just murdered them, has just like the weirdest, like the worst freeze frame face, like so it's just so ridiculous. I'm really into it. No wonder, like it's perfect like 2019 social media fodder as well. Like, everyone's just sharing gifs of this stuff all day.
Yeah, I mean, it's going everywhere. I mean, even in the designing a fatality or video that you put up, like the Baraka one of him, he was just like you're dead, like you're already dead, like he's already cut you up, he's cut your face off, everything dead. No, he just got to go in there, stick and grab your brain, and he like bites it and eats it, and that's the last frame you see.
That's what kills you. It's not the removal of the brain from the head. It's when Baraka had it for lunch.
He's hungry, man. All that fighting burns a lot of calories. You just make the best of both worlds. Two birds with one stone.
The Johnny Cage stuff reminded me of like when people ask what should Duke Nukem be in 2019. Like, there's something about the tone of these games that they're like weirdly self-serious in terms of their lore, but they're so in on how stupid the whole thing is. Like, just how stupid. Like, they just made these characters in the early 90s based on what was popular in movies and ninja movies, both Western and Eastern, like Ninja Squad and some of the stuff coming out of Japan. And it meant nothing, and they had to sort of shamble a story around it. But now, like, they have to shamble a story around it with like people who do motion capture and like famous celebrities doing VO, and it's like, but it's the same troop of like nutter. Like, what the fuck is Baraka? Like, he's just a troll.
He's a Tarkatan soldier or general. Danny, don't you know the lore?
God damn it, it's amazing. I'm looking forward to to play in it. They seem to be cramming a bunch of different stuff into the single player as well, which I guess is the problem every time they do it. It's just that most people just want to pick up and play, but I guess they're sticking a bunch of stuff into the towers. I didn't get to experience that much. What was that like? I know we can't talk about the campaign stuff at all, but what was the towers like?
So the towers are returning from, I believe, in MK9. They kind of started working on that feature, and then they brought it to 10. But the towers are essentially like think of like the old school arcade mode where you play like one character and then you make your way through like a tower of like opponents. But they've added a bunch of stuff in terms of like you have like consumables, so like you can like summon Shinnok's hands to do like an attack, or call in like a drone strike or something like that, or even call in an assist like a Marvel 2, Marvel 3 style of like
cool, yeah.
Scorpion comes in, he throws his chain, and then that sets up a combo. So it's pretty wacky. And the computer, for some reason, like at the press event, like that computer opponent was set to like an incredible like high level of difficulty for some of them. Like they had one where you fought the entire Cage family like one on one, like it was like Gauntlet, and you had like one life essentially, and you just had to beat 4 people. But for a press event, I was like taken aback for like how like high the computer was set. So like they're definitely gonna be challenging, and they're definitely gonna be a lot of fun for that's a bus. Give me a second. Philadelphia. They're definitely going to be challenging, and they're definitely going to be a lot of fun for single players. But I think if anything, Mortal Kombat and NetherRealm have leaned into the single player, right?
Yeah.
Like we think fighting games in terms of like there's always 2 people, or you go online and you play ranked or whatnot. But they really know that not everybody can do that, or not everybody wants to do that. So let's give them a story mode. Let's give them these towers. Let's give them the crypt. Like the crypt last game was essentially like Skyrim. Like it was crazy. It was like a first person, more like Amnesia. It's like a first person like horror game. Like I couldn't play. Like I'm bad with horror games, so I couldn't play the crypt because things would just jump scare you all the time. So I never unlocked anything in Mortal Kombat X. But they do that. They lean into the single player, and I think that's what really sets them apart. Outside of like the gameplay, outside of the graphics, what really sets NetherRealm apart lately is them leaning so hard into the single player aspect.
Yeah, I guess it's some learnings maybe they brought over from their little flirtations with DC. But I went back and played the arcade collection, which actually isn't on Steam anymore. But I found a key for it. I bought it through Amazon, weirdly, and it spat out a Steam key at me. And then I guess I installed it and realized I think the reason they pulled it is that it's got all that Games for Windows Live shit embedded in it. So you have to like create a local profile and do all that to like get to the main menu. But I played through a bunch of the first 3 of them again just to get a bit of gameplay capture and just have a bit of fun. And yeah, it just reminded me of like, oh yeah, this is what fighting games used to be. And also this is what most fighting games are to me still. It's like way harder difficulty, especially the arcade ones because they were the arcade ports. Way harder difficulty, and then just like it's you against just a stream of people. It's like a roguelike. It's in a different way.
How can you survive in this 1 quarter? That's all you got.
Right. So it's funny how these games are just like it's all about setting up the scenarios. Like even the different fighters, they just do such a good job of like setting up the scenario, even with the quips that they talk about at the start. Like having Baraka and Johnny Cage shit talk each other before is like it's funny. Like it's sure, and it makes you want to like I don't know, do all the different duos up against each other and stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. There's a beta open like near the end of this month, I think.
There's an online stress test, I believe, next week.
Right.
So the weekend of the 15th, I believe.
Excellent.
So they did it with Injustice 2 last go, and it worked pretty well. Like it was a little rough for the stress test, but that's why they do it. And I remember hearing good things or decent things about Injustice 2's online netcode. So hopefully that comes true for MK11 because I know a lot of people want to play it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on from the game, I guess. Before we get into everything else, what did you think about NetherRealm and the studio? It's in like a weird office park, right?
I remember us getting there and like we were very confused because I think the biggest thing that confused me is like you have NetherRealm on one side and then you have like a kinder gym or like daycare center on the like right, and I'm like, man, these 2 things don't go together at all, but all right, cool.
And there's like a big sign, like it's not like NetherRealm Studios is written in like impact on like a bulletin board with all the rest of them. It's the biggest sign on the the list of businesses, and it also just like says NetherRealm Studios written in the gnarliest font ever. Like
it's not hiding.
No.
It's making you well aware that it's there.
We got a nice tour of the office. You know, kind of. It kind of reminded me of like a bunch of Japanese studios. Like, you know, just a lot of what do you call them? Cubicles. Not much light. The folks there seemed pretty cool. A pretty nondescript canteen. It mightn't get very high in our top 10 canteen video. But the sound stage is pretty cool. They had a really large motion capture stage. It's in the Ed Boon video. But yeah, apart from that, I guess there was that main area, right? You filmed a bunch of with the.
Yeah, I think the main area was kind of like what took the cake for me, at least, where they just have like, you know, it's like a little small museum of just, you know, NetherRealm's past. You know, they had like, I think the coolest thing I saw there is they had like the original. I don't want to call them figures, but originally like the statues they used to make like Motaro, Goro, and like Kintaro and stuff like that. And like I forget who was giving the tour, but they said like, hey, you know, we have these in case because if we even like touch them once, like they'll basically disintegrate.
Right.
Like that's how old these things are. And, you know, they had props from the movie. They had, like, the Goro head from the movie, and they had, like, all the various toys. They don't have an Amiga copy of Mortal Kombat 2.
Well, they might.
Danny was very happy about that.
They said they had a DOS one, but he did say they cycled them out. So he said, hope. So maybe they do have one. I mean, I almost brought my copy of MK2 on Amiga 600 for Ed to sign. His office was, like, right there. And also, you said you noticed, I didn't recognize what they were, but they were, like, these long rectangular logos. And you said they were the cabinet heads, right?
Oh yeah, so they had the marquees, like the marquee tiles for like Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, right next to like the museum, or like the museum, the foyer, I guess. And they just had them like right there, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like they even took pieces of like the cabinet, and like, you know, they have their own arcade too, which we didn't get to go in, but like I saw 3 stations of the grid, which is like so rare to find even one. I was like, man, if it wasn't for this press tour, I'd be in that arcade right now. Yeah,
that was pretty cool actually. There was a lot of people on that tour, so it was kind of hard to actually see anything. And I felt like there were other people there who were way more jazzed to be there, who were like longtime fans or something. So I was kind of happy to hang back and hang out weirdly with like a bunch of ex-press people that I know from London and San Francisco, so it was kind of like a weird little meet and greet as well, which was really cool to catch up with some folks.
It felt like you came into NetherRealm, you signed whatever you needed to sign, and then you said hi to Danny. That seemed to be the the course of events as people were coming through the door. That's
because we turned up early as well, because they were all staying at a hotel. I guess we paid our own way, of course, so we kind of walked 10 minutes in the snow. Sorry about that again.
That's all right.
Get there. What have you been up to outside of Noclip stuff? Because there's a bunch of Noclip stuff I need to get into in a second, and I'm conscious of I'm just going to be rambling. So what have you actually been doing? How was Japan? You're at Evo, right?
Oh man, you know, not to go too far behind the scenes, but like you asked me what I've been up to, and like I actually had to take a minute and just be like, what have I been up to? Because I feel like the last couple of weeks have been a blur.
You've been
the
non-stop,
biggest thing,
man.
The biggest thing has been Evo Japan. I was in. I went to Tokyo for a little bit to do some work and also to just hang out, you know, before things got busy. And then I went over to Fukuoka, which is a place I've never been before, but it was very cool. And I got to go to Evo Japan and shoot some stuff there. And that was pretty awesome. I'm still recovering from jet lag. It's getting better.
Well, you were there for a while. You were there for like over a week, right?
I was there for like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Especially, I feel like East Coast US is also like the worst. It's like 13-hour difference or something, right?
Yeah, it's about, they're like a whole half a day ahead, essentially. So Evo Japan was pretty cool, but for the most part, I've been, you know, went to Chicago, we did the NetherRealm thing. I also been kind of skipping around on other secret missions on my own, and I'll be able to talk about those eventually.
You're gonna do that, right? You're gonna do that, yeah?
Yeah, I gotta do that. I'm gonna big time you right now. I'm so sorry. But the biggest thing I've been doing outside of, you know, editing and shooting is just getting back to playing games,
cool.
Which is something I haven't had the chance to really do until recently.
Yeah, I've not actually over the past month. So please tell me what the fuck I'm missing, because all I've been doing is playing like Astroneer and Hades for gameplay. Sorry, System Era and Supergiant. Not that I don't enjoy those games anyway, but you know, I don't know anything about Resident Evil 2, and the only game of Apex Legends I've played was like the day it came out. So what have you been up to?
I think the biggest game I've been playing recently has been Resident Evil 2.
Oh, cool.
I got the remake the day it came out, before I left for Japan or whatnot, and I ran through the first campaign with Leon, and that game is incredible. especially coming from somebody who didn't like. I know of the original, and I played a little bit of the original, but I never like beat it. I just watched a lot of speedruns and stuff like that. But to see how they took the concepts of the original and evolved them for this remake, and not went 1-to-1 either. Like, you don't go through the same hallways you did in the same order, or even if you do, like, the same events might not happen at the times you expect them.
Right.
They did a really good job of keeping everything familiar, but not 1-to-1 copying it and just kind of pushing it forward. Like, if you look at what Resident Evil 7 did, Resident Evil 7 brought Resident Evil back, but it also pushed it into like a new like realm. Like, it learned from things like Amnesia, or it learned from things like Soma. Where Resident Evil 2, this remake, is taking all the lessons they learned from that game and making, like, trying to make the ultimate Resident Evil, trying to make that Resident Evil that when people talk about Resident Evil, they're trying to capture that essence and that feeling and put into this game. And I think they did a really, really good job. It's hard too. There are some mean moments in this game, and I know everyone's like posting clips of Mr. X.
Yeah.
He's one of them. He's just one of them. But there's some mean stuff and some mean tricks they pull in this game. But otherwise, I had a really good time playing this. I'm going to go back and do Claire next soon.
Rad. Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I got it and played maybe 2 hours. Actually, that might be generous. Maybe closer to 1 hour. And yeah, I was kind of taken aback. I'm one of these people who, like, I've completed the first Resident Evil like a bunch of times. Like, I've played through that one loads. Resi 2 was never really my jam, so I have only played the start of it. And I actually didn't realize until, I guess, the week it came out that it wasn't just an HD remake of Resi 2, because Resi 1 had been HD remaked like 4 times by the time this one came around. So I was like, they'll just do the same thing. But yeah, now actually I just want them to go back and do this to the first game.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have been talking about that. A lot of people have been talking about Resident Evil 3. Like, Resident Evil 3 was like the first real Resident Evil I actually played all the way through, because I'm like really bad. Like I mentioned before, I'm really bad with scary games. Right. Like, even like Resident Evil's not horror scary, like jump scare every 5 seconds, but it's like that sense of like it could happen, like something could attack me at this point. But Resident Evil 3 was like it was the first time the series really leaned into action. Where you're constantly on the run, and Jill's like armed to the teeth, really. Yeah. So I played through that. So a lot of people have been talking about, well, what if they did what they did with this remake to Resident Evil 3? Like, they already got the thing that's chasing you all the time. Like, they've got the police station. So I kind of hope they do that with 3. It's probably too soon to do that with 4. But I love 4, but it could use a little streamlining too. I wouldn't be. It's on everything. I'm pretty sure it'll be on my phone in like 5 seconds. It's so much bigger of a game, though. I feel like it'd be like, it's huge. Like Resident Evil 2 is like one where it's so confined. Like, the design of it is, I mean, it eventually, but it's not like Nemesis or Veronica. These larger scale sort of things where you go off into different parts of the environment. So yeah, I wonder, would it have the same effect? Because that's what's so cool about this, is that it's like they've made the world of that like police station and the city like just richer. It's not like it's they've just like made it more detailed in the way that like modern games can, and with mechanics as well, like adding a bunch of sort of different stuff, so it's a bit more emergent than the first one was, because the first games are just like horror Sudoku, really. You're just like collecting one thing and going to another. What else have you been playing aside from your remakes? I've been playing a lot of Tekken, getting back into fighting games. I haven't played while I was in Japan. They updated the arcade version, because it's been back like a couple of characters and stuff like that. So I actually got to play in arcades again. Like, there's nothing, like, part of the reason why I go to Japan so much outside of work is because I just like playing in arcades, and it's hard to play in arcades in the States because they don't really exist anymore. So playing on Tekken over there, getting better, getting my fundamentals back, becoming a competitor. I might compete. We'll see. And then Apex Legends. I think everyone's been playing Apex Legends.
Yeah, people have just been asking me to make a documentary about it. That's all over and over and over again. I think mostly because we were just at Respawn for the Half-Life thing. We like interviewed Vince Zampella, presumably while they were chipping away on that thing. Yeah, that's cool. Like I said, I only played like an hour or two the day it came out. Have you consistently been like still playing it?
I play at least for an hour every day.
Oh man, really? God, everyone's playing this game.
And it's like the first, like, you know, we played PUBG and stuff like that, and I was like, okay, like, you know, I could at least call people out and be like, oh, we're getting shot from over there. By the way, I'm down.
I played PUBG yesterday.
Oh, look at you. But this is like the first, like, I really like Titanfall 2. In fact, Apex Legends have made me buy Titanfall 2 on PC, even though I own a PS4 copy, and like play that nonstop. So I'm like switching between the two all the time.
It's real good.
The gunplay is so good. Like not even talking about the campaign or the multiplayer or just the, you know, the core of the game itself, but the gunplay is like insane. And then when you take that and you move that to like a battle royale, and you lose some movement stuff, like you can't run across the walls or anything like that. You don't have a double jump, but the speed of the game is still pretty quick. I think my longest match in Apex has been 25 minutes.
Okay,
and that's like getting to the end. That's like last 2 squads.
Right, which I think in PUBG I want to say that's closer to 40.
Yes, it's PUBG is a much longer game compared to Apex, but in Apex you have so many more options for engaging and disengaging with all the character abilities, and the ability to use the terrain to your advantage. So like you carry momentum when you slide down terrain, and you can use that to jump further, or you know, when you're running and healing or walking and healing, you can't run, but you can slide down. So using terrain to, like, you know, if you're losing a fight, we can disengage. I can create like a smoke field or whatever, get out of there, and we can come back and try to figure out a way. This
is why I'm scared of getting back into it now, because now, like, I still haven't figured out guns, and you're all learning how to be fucking ninjas in this thing, and it's just going to be like, you know, week 2 of Gears of War when suddenly everyone's figured out the timing on that shotgun kill, and you're just like a lamb to the slaughter.
It's not that hard. Like, I went away for 2 weeks to Japan after the game came out, and like that's all we were talking about. Like, outside of fighting games, we're like, man, everyone's gonna be really good by the time we get back. This is really bad. But when I came back, I got like 2 wins. Like, this is like, it's not hard to adjust, and especially, you know, you're a really good shot, so there are some weapons that you can take advantage of that other people can't. Like, long range fights are kind of rare. I feel like this game is more mid range to close range. So they just updated some of the guns, so that might actually change. But, you know, if you've got the reflexes, or if you're a good shot, you'll be fine. And then balancing that with like this pinging thing, like this pinging system is so good in this game. I have not talked to anybody. I play randomly. All my wins have been from random teams.
They're adding it to Fortnite now. They're actually like literally adding it. I mean, to me, it's the pinging system from Portal 2, just in a different game. Like, it's contextual stuff that you use.
It's super contextual. Like, it's contextual to the point where, like, if we're in a building and someone hits me, like through a window or something like that, I can hit the H key or whatever key I've assigned to, and my character will be like, I'm being hit from somewhere with a sniper rifle.
Yeah, I'm doing it like a day off tomorrow. I decided to turn the $20 tier on Patreon into, I'm just going to like play games all day and stream it.
I think that's a really good choice.
Yeah, just to take some time off more than anything else. Just to have some like work dedicated time off, because otherwise I'll just never do it, and I'll keep editing and keep burning myself out all the time. So yeah, maybe tomorrow I'll give a go at that. Let's get into what's coming up on Noclip and what's already come up on Noclip, because it's been a crazy couple of weeks here. The second episode of our Hades documentary has gone up. That was a lot of fun to put together. Shout out to Jeremy Jane over in Berkeley for putting that one together. The name of it has already escaped me. What is it? What did we call it? We called it episode 2. The first one is called How Supergiant Secretly Launched Hades. And the second one's called The Chaos of Patching Hades. That's right. So it's basically all about them adding the Chaos update and the one that came after that. We kind of split the difference over a couple of months. We're at work on the third one, which will be up in about 6 weeks' time. We have like a 5 weeks' time, actually. We have a calendar we're sort of been working with that we're going to make public soon enough, that'll show you what's coming out for the rest of the year. There's also a patron Q&A video we shot with them, which will be going up I think probably closer to the end of this month, and then also we have the behind the scenes from episode 2, like the deleted scenes rather, which will be going up. It's already been edited. I'm just going through clearance with them to make sure that we didn't show a screen we shouldn't have, and then it'll be up at some stage next week. The Astroneer documentary is up as well. Delighted to get that one done and dusted. Shout out to Joe Gerardo over at Systemera and Samantha Kalman, a friend of Noclip, for putting me on that story, I guess, over 2 years ago. That was a hard one to edit. That's probably one of the more difficult human stories we've covered on Noclip, and it was kind of a sensitive topic, so I'm as relieved as anything else that we didn't sort of drop the ball on that one. So people seem to like it, which is good. Have you had a chance to check that one out yet?
I have not. I downloaded it for my recent flight, and then I lost my iPad on the plane.
No,
so I also
didn't.
cried for my human interest story.
No.
Yeah, I got it back though. I got it back.
Oh, thank God.
But I wrote up a bunch of cool stuff, like cool project stuff. Got off the plane, got in my Uber, realized I totally left it in the little where they keep the magazines.
Yeah, how'd you get it back?
So not to get too nitty gritty, but American, they automated everything, like their lost and found stuff. So you just fill out a form online, hey, this is what it looks like, this is where it is, this is where it was last seen. And they either hold it for you at the airport or they can ship it to you.
Wow.
And, I was luckily coming back to the same airport and they found it and they gave it to me.
That's nuts. I have those AirPods. I held out on getting AirPods for forever because I just thought they were needlessly expensive and ridiculous. And then when you have a kid and not having dangly things in front of their face sometimes when you're around and doing stuff, it's kind of handy just to have one in while a podcast is on, while you're playing with them with the toys for 2 hours. So God, I'm a bad parent. So I got them, but I was in the airplane and I fell asleep with them in my ears, and I woke up and both were out of my ears. And it was a night, and it was when we were deplaning. So it was I was jumping up around. I eventually found both of them, but I had an absolute heart attack. Well, that Astroneer doc, it's up. It's about 45 minutes long, I think. The Jeff Gerstmann podcast is coming next after this one. It'll be next week, I guess. We've from when you're listening to this, if you listen to this when it was the week it went up, I did a vote basically on what people would like to see from our backlog of bits and bobs we've yet to finish, and this was the far and away winner. So getting that done at the moment. It'll be more of the story style podcast we started out with, and it's a long one. It's about an hour and 20, I think, is what it's going to land on. Big lot of trips coming up for the rest of this month. I'm off to South by Southwest, but before I talk about mine, you're also going, right?
Yes,
but not with Noclip. What are you doing? Can you say?
I'm trying to figure that out right now.
Okay, you're doing something.
I'll be at South by Southwest helping out with a stream for a very large company.
Cool.
That's all I can say.
Apple, IBM, there we go.
Sure, why not?
Yep, get those international business machines.
That's right. Buy stocks now.
I don't know. I'm going to be there doing a panel at South by Southwest Gaming called Noclip Convincing Gamers to Love Developers, which is not Noclip Convincing Gamers to Make Love to Developers, which was the original rejected title. It's part of the game and design development track. I went on their website and it said it was level beginner. It said it was level beginner, which
that doesn't make sense.
They don't know what I'm going to talk about. I could go up there and talk about fucking, I don't know, object-oriented programming. We'll see what they think then.
Hit him with the intricacies of God rays.
Yeah, we'll go straight into LUTs. An hour on LUT talk. I don't know. I have 3 versions of that talk in my head, and I'm basically going to do a show of hands at the start to see if people are either developers or working in PR or just game players, and not just game players, just game players. And then I'm going to do it from there. I've got a couple of meetings as well, and there's a couple of other reasons I'm heading out there. So, and the other reason is that it piggybacks right onto GDC, and this is our biggest ever GDC. This is the Game Developers Conference in sunny San Francisco. We are all heading out. Well, Jeremy still lives there. I'm heading over. Esteban is coming too. Jeremy is currently resting up at home because he broke his foot. Kicked a chair while he was making food, apparently.
Should have bought a Herman Miller.
You should have, yeah.
You guys are making mistakes.
You can kick that thing all day. It just takes it.
Oh, it'll break your leg. It's made out of steel.
So he's resting up at the moment. So that's it's not the only reason you're coming, but it was definitely like we had like a mounting amount of interviews, and I was like, we really need to bring Esteban. We're not going to be able to do all this just the two of us. And then we kept getting more and more and more, and I was like, yeah, we're probably going to do that. And then he broke his foot, and that day 4 more people confirmed. We were like, yeah, I like called you up, I think, and was like, could you definitely please come to GDC?
So I woke up that morning, and the first thing I see is a tweet saying from Jeremy. He was like, I broke my foot, damn it. And then I was like, I bet in 15 minutes I'm going to get a text from Danny. This is, hey, are you free for GDC? Like, are you still free? And then like 10 minutes later, you were like, hey, are you like free for GDC still? And I was like, yep, yes I am.
We have a ridiculous calendar. So we did this 2 years ago, and it was really fun, and we got a bunch of these little mini interviews. We called them Noclip sessions then. We're not going to brand them this time. We're just going to make a bunch of smaller vids, kind of like the Corey Barlog one or the Ed Boon one. Just like a little, I don't know, not super long ones, but interesting little chats. I'm looking at my calendar right here, man, and I mean, they're all between 10 and 4 during the day. We've got the studio at Patreon booked for basically the entire week, and we have everyone from like mid-tier developers, some massive indies, folks from Japan, some big Western devs, a bunch of interesting indies that people have been asking us to talk to, folks to do with unionization and like just it's a crazy murderer's row of names, some of which people will be very familiar with and some of which people won't. If you're going to be at GDC, we're not going to be around that much, but we will be at the showing of our Half-Life documentary as part of the GDC Film Festival, which is on at 4:40 p.m. on, I want to say, the Tuesday. I closed my calendar like a silly boy. That's going to happen like at Yerba Buena. I think it's it's on the Tuesday. That's the 19th of March. It's going to be at the Yerba Buena. I think it's called Film like Cinema or whatever. I forget what it's called. It's just a little one that's right there in the park. And we'll be around before and after to hang out and talk and stuff. I think myself and Jeremy are going to get up on stage afterwards and do a Q&A or something. So that should be fun. So we're not doing like an official meetup or anything. We just kind of can't. Like, I used to work in Soma in San Francisco, and like getting a bar for like 20 people would be impossible. And I feel like if Noclip did a meetup at GDC, we'd get like 100 people. So I just can't do it. So we'll be if you're at the premiere or at the showing, it's not a premiere. You can literally watch. Almost a million people have watched it on YouTube already.
I don't know if you know, Daddy, but that video's been out for quite a while.
We did this last year too at Horizon, and it was amazing. Sadly, they had to turn people away. So that might happen this year again. The weirdest part about this is that the film festival is sponsored by Valve. Who did not talk to us for the documentary.
I'm sure they love this.
Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit awkward. So we'd love to see you there before and afterwards, before or afterwards, whatever works for you. Even if you can't go watch the movie, we'd be happy to come up and say hey. If you're not going to GDC though, we're doing something weird. We're doing something new on our Patreon. They have this special offers thing, which I didn't really ever want to do because I feel like our tiers are fair and cool and whatnot. But just considering how big we're going at GDC this year, it would be helpful to get a little bit more cash in the kitty, as it were. So what we're doing, if you want, is we're going to add this thing called an event pass. I'm very careful not to put GDC in the actual name of that because I'm sure we wouldn't be allowed to do that. Although GDC tickets are pretty expensive. How much did it say when you like $2,500 or something?
It was like $2,500 to $2,800, and you sent me this link. It was like, hey, just sign up for this, and I saw it GDC has like a little checkout, and I saw $2,800. I was like, is he out of his damn mind?
Yeah, we have press passes, so he didn't. You literally.
Yeah, you go through another page, and then it makes it like zero, like a coupon code. But like, you gave me a heart attack at one point.
You literally get a coupon code for like $2,500.
It's crazy.
You're like, can I redeem this somewhere else? Maybe. Like,
can I buy a mortgage? Can I put a down payment somewhere else with this?
Can I buy 10 of these chairs or 3? I don't know how much they cost. Yeah. But yeah, we're going to put it in the $10 tier. If you're already in the $10 tier or up, you'll get all this already. But if you're in the $5, if you want to jump up, basically what we're going to do is live check-ins every day. So we're in the studio from Monday to Friday. And I'm also there Sunday and Saturday. We might do those dates too, but we're definitely going to do Monday to Friday. We're going to do little live streams from the studio. I was thinking about doing them a longer day, but I don't know how good the internet is in the studio, so I don't want to commit to it. But we're definitely going to do these like live check-ins where we basically host a little live stream, let you know who we're interviewing that day, stuff like that, like kind of insider bits. Which we kind of wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable broadcasting to the entire wider world, but it'll be fun to do for some of our patrons. And if you have any questions for those people or questions for us, we'll all be there. So that's our Noclip GDC event pass, or Noclip Games Development Event Pass. Let's call it
early access Noclip GDC buzzword keyword search influencer pass.
There'll be a post about it in the next few days anyway.
It's the battle pass for Noclip. You can
there you
start
go
for free and then pay $10 later and get all the costumes.
I did think about doing loot boxes at one stage where we do like a real world loot box, but it's always got something good in it. But then I like ran the numbers on it and was like, no one would ever pay money. The amount of money it would take to make everything be really rad, no one should ever have to play blind. So like throughout the I think loot boxes are just inherently evil. So even with all good intentions, I couldn't figure out a way of doing it. It's a bit of a shame. So you'll be there too. You've been to San Francisco, but not to GDC, is that right?
Yeah, I've been to San Francisco, but I've never been to GDC. I've always wanted to go to GDC. I love the talks that they have there, and it just seems like a cool place to be.
Yeah, it's super cool. I'm not sure how much time we'll have to actually go to the Moscone Center. Hopefully, what I'm trying to do is make it so that on the Friday at least we've got a bit of a time so everyone can run in for a while. But also, like we can do stuff in shifts. Like I'm sure we won't need all three of us all the time. Over at Patreon, but it's gonna be a lot, man. We're gonna come out of that thing with like 20 interviews, and then we have to figure out how to cut them and who's cutting them and which ones are coming out and whatnot. So a lot of stuff coming to Noclip, and that's a podcast basically. Just wanted to give an update to what we're doing. That Jeff Gerstmann will be up next. You've heard all the stuff that's coming depending on the whatever tiers you're in. Esteban, where can people follow you and watch you play video games?
You can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/@thebestaban. That's where all my stuff is at. I'm also getting into the habit of streaming at least once a week. Probably nothing crazy like Ninja like every day, but trying to stream
he's
at least
hanging out
once
with
a week.
Neymar at soccer games now. He doesn't have time to stream.
Yeah, come on. But I'm here to take a spot now. But I've dyed my hair red and everything. So you can follow me at twitch.tv/thebestaban because branding, and I'll be up there. It's casual, once a week, just play games. Right now, I'm downloading Devil May Cry 5 actually as we're speaking.
Oh, sweet!
As soon as that thing hits midnight.
Is that tomorrow?
Tomorrow,
okay.
Yeah. So I'm probably gonna actually play a couple hours tomorrow.
Cool.
Get to that game because I love Devil May Cry. So
cool.
That's it for me.
Awesome. I like those Nigerian movies. The trailers for them.
Yeah, they're canon now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I can't believe Capcom made them canon.
I mean, they fucking might as well be. Like they make as much sense as the official lore as far as I'm concerned. So,
oh man, now the Devil May Cry Reddit is on fire. Way to go, Danny.
All our patrons who love DMC are out. I did really like that Ninja Theory one though. That was quite fun.
Oh no, what have you done?
At Daddy O'Dwyer on Twitter, at Noclip Video. If you don't follow us there, you know the drill. We're all over the internet. r/Noclip on Reddit. We got a Patreon in case you didn't know. This podcast is on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, loads more. We have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/NoclipPodcast. We also make video game documentaries, youtube.com/NoclipVideo if you didn't know that. Patrons get all that stuff for the show early, this show early, for $5 a month. Thank you to all of those folks for supporting our work. See you next time. Jeff Gerstmann will be up, and then we'll probably do like a post-GDC wrap-up as well. But we'll also have a bunch of developer interviews coming over the next couple of weeks as well, so stay tuned. Thanks, Esteban, for hanging out.
Thanks for having me.
No worries, and we'll see the rest of you next time.